Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Network Admin Life. I'm coming to you from my glorious bedroom because the living room is crowded, the garage is too cold, and I'm not at work. So I'm coming to you in my Network Admin jammies, also known as my North Face sweatshirt, and trying not to shiver too much. It is the heart of winter. Well, it's the beginning of winter, but it's darn cold. So anyway, grace and peace to you all from our Lord Jesus Christ and all the saints here in foggy Central California. So after my last update with the firewall issues we're having, there was a lot of good comments and some good questions. Please keep those coming. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to go through the scenario. So yesterday we did some more testing, and we've got it to where the issue is now producible. It was almost random before, but we know how to reproduce it now. So let me share something with you. This guy, share that. Okay, so, oh yeah, you can actually see me better too. Poor you. All right, so here's how we're wired up here. We've got my firewall here in my data center, which is these switches up here. This is my inside network. This is up in my data center. This is down in the hospital basement at the MPOE. And so we take two routes to get to downtown. First route is from primary, and this is for internet traffic and also for county services. So any WAN connectivity we have to the county for like accounting and intranets and just anything that the hospital needs to communicate to the county with and not necessarily the internet is also going to come this way. It's actually going to come through a different line though. So it's not tagged on the same thing. It's actually physically a different interface, a different connection into this switch here. So just bear that in mind. I didn't draw that here. I threw together something real quick just to demonstrate our internet problem. I bring that up. So separate connection from the firewall, separate connection to this switch, and a separate connection into this switch, which is the edge switch for the county on our edge. So those are all separate connections for that county service. I bring that up because that is not giving us an issue. Connections to the county remain rock solid no matter what we do. So that's why I just drew this one line. That's the one we're having an issue with. So goes into my WAN switch, which is the switch basically sitting between me and the county switch. Here's his edge, goes across basically a Metro E connection. It's like a leased line provided by Comcast, goes over to his core. There's another one down here provided by AT&T, same thing. Metro E goes over to his core. Metro E is Metro Ethernet. It's basically an Ethernet connection that AT&T and Comcast give us. If you don't know what that is. So that goes off to his core. So we got these two lines. His two switches are connected by a trunk on the hospital side. His two switches are connected by another trunk on the county side. Now, these two connections that go into these two switches are actually trunked together with what they call a multi-link trunk, which is basically a way to make two lines into two ports into an aggregate port, and they're just spanned across these two switches. So this is an aggregate link, these two connections. So here's what happens. So internet traffic comes out my firewall, comes into this switch, WAN switch 11, and it egresses on VLAN, let's say 225, untagged. So it goes into VLAN 225, untagged, goes across to this switch. They're like right on top of each other, so it's a very short cable. Goes into his switch. He's got his port tagged into, I don't know, we'll call it VLAN 150 on his side. I'm calling it that because it is. So traffic egresses out of my switch into his on VLAN 225. untagged, hits his port, which is untagged in VLAN 150, and goes out across here in VLAN 150 to his core down at the county building, and then hits his ISP router, which is provided by AT&T, and then goes out. So you see we have two connections here. I mean, we have two internet providers listed. We do have two internet providers, AT&T and Comcast. AT&T gives us a 1 gig connection to the internet, and Comcast, I don't remember what it is. That's why I just say less. It's like 500 meg or something like that. And these are, it's basically just, they're both providing, both have connections into his router, but they're using BGP to decide who has the route, who owns my block of subnet, my IP address block. So that's how all that happens out there. That's county guy's problem, not really mine. But AT&T is the one that's handling the traffic right now, because AT&T hasn't gone down, so it's not failed over to Comcast. So AT&T. I don't want you to get it confused with these Comcast and AT&T Metro E's. So this is not really internet traffic. This is just a wire between my building and his building. So just because it says AT&T and Comcast doesn't mean that if we go over this way, we're going out over the internet over Comcast. That's not the case. Once we hit his router, we're always going out AT&T, always AT&T. Okay. So like I said, goes out, everything works, no problem, right? Everything just works. So as part of our testing, what we did is we rebooted each one of these routers in turn. We didn't reboot this one because then we'd lose the internet. And that is a redundant router, by the way. I didn't show it, but there are two routers there that are primary and secondary. They'll fail over to each other. So first thing we did is reboot this County Core 2. It went down. We were pinging the internet. We were pinging Google. We were watching YouTube videos. No problem. It came back up. No problem. Okay, check that one off. We moved on to reboot this other one, County Core 1. We reboot that one. Same result. No problem. Internet never went down. County services didn't go down. Everything's just working just fine. Okay, so we move on to the county edge switch, which is in my rack at the hospital. So we reboot that one, no problem. We still have access to county services. We still have access to the internet. So traffic rerouted like it should. This guy rebooted, so traffic couldn't go this way. So it comes down here through WAN switch 10 into county edge 10 and went out over the AT&T circuit. No problem, not a problem at all. And for some reason, I don't know why, so we're on the primary firewall, remember. We decided to reboot WAN switch 10 first. So we reboot WAN switch 10. No problem, as you expect, because this guy is not the active firewall. This is the active firewall. And here's where it started getting fun. Okay, so now we're going to reboot WAN switch 10. We expect the firewalls to fail over, which they did. So we reboot this guy, boom, this guy fails over. Internet traffic starts passing this way, no problem. It's working just great. We think, okay, great. So as we're sitting there talking and celebrating and having a good old time, all of a sudden, our Zoom session drops, our pings to the internet start dropping. Bizarre. Now I had hooked up a laptop onto this WAN switch 10. It's on the same VLAN as my outside internet. And there's also there's other devices on this WAN switch 10 that are on the outside, that are in the same VLAN, VLAN 225, my outside VLAN. The weird thing is, from my laptop, I could still get out to the internet. I could ping this gateway here, this AT&T router. The other device, the guy downtown could ping it from the internet because it had an outside IP address internet. No problem. But anything on the other side of this firewall could not get through. That is so weird. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Those devices were on WAN switch 11. This is the data center. Yes, I'm sorry, I misspoke. So retract all that about WAN switch 10. We once WAN switch 11 came back up and the internet was down, my laptop on WAN switch 11 was still able to ping the internet, but nothing on the other side of this firewall, which was now the primary. The devices over here connected directly to the switch could in fact ping out. The one thing I didn't try to do is log into this guy while he was secondary and try to ping through. I should have done that. I didn't think about it. So anyway, sorry about the confusion. So just on a whim, we decided to fail the firewalls back. Fail the firewall back here. Boom, everything inside on the inside network could now get to the internet again. Well, that was weird. And a whole bunch of stuff ensued, all kinds of testing, packet captures and everything. So then we wanted to try something else. So we fail over to the secondary firewall. Now this guy's the secondary is our primary. Everything's working, no problem. We reboot WAN switch 11. It comes back up. We can still get to the internet. No problem. Stays up. Okay, that's weird. Now remembering, secondary is still our active firewall. We reboot WAN switch 10. So as soon as that happens, firewall fails over. This guy is now our primary. This guy's rebooting. Traffic's getting to the internet, no problem. This guy's done rebooting. He comes back up, and within 5 minutes, same result. Inside devices here cannot get to the internet. So what do? We fail back. We fail back to the secondary. And then all of a sudden, my wife is trying to talk to me. I'm making a video, sweetie pie. So we fail back. This guy is now the primary again, and all of a sudden we can get out to the internet again. That's so weird. And then we fail back again over here to make this guy the primary. We can continue to get to the internet. So it seems that whichever guy is the primary, if we reboot the switch he's connected to, once it comes back up, we're going to lose internet connection unless we fail over, which is really, really weird. So somebody in one of the comments asked about preemptive failover. Yes, we have enabled that. So now what happens? This guy's our primary, right? We reboot WAN switch 11, fails over. Everybody's going through WAN switch 10. WAN switch 11 comes back up, and then about 2-3 minutes later, the firewalls fail back. We continue to have good internet, no problem. So the preemptive failover seems to have put a Band-Aid on the situation. But yeah, that's what we're trying to work through right now. Is figuring out why, when you reboot this firewall or you reboot this switch, this firewall fails over, and if this guy retains being the active firewall when this switch up here comes back up, why do we lose internet connectivity? And we do not lose connectivity to the county. So, I mean, my logic and intuition tells me there's got to be a problem with these firewalls and this gateway over here, because this is all layer 2 between here. These are not routers, these are switches. This guy, if I do a trace route from my inside network, I'm going to see one hop here as my primary firewall and one hop here as his router. I'm not going to see any of this stuff in the middle. This is all just layer 2 stuff. So yeah, that all being said, I just wanted to put out this one extra supplemental network admin life this week to say, if you have any ideas what could be causing that, put it in the comments. I would love to hear it, because right now, as it stands, neither Palo Alto nor Extreme Networks, our switching provider, can explain what's going on. So I know there's a lot of smart people out on the internet, a lot smarter than me. It's where I get most of my answers, is out on the internet. I don't think them up myself. So yeah, if you've got any, I mean, you can see our network here. You've heard me explain the problem. If you have heard of this or have experienced this, I would love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts, hear your comments. Um, Suggestions are always welcome. Just don't be upset if I say we've already tried that, because we have tried so many things. I mean, we worked on this Saturday and Sunday last weekend, all day, 12 hours both days. And we worked on this yesterday for 9 hours, just strictly doing packet captures, trying to, for Extreme and Palo Alto to look at to see if they can see anything. So, now one thing I noticed that I need to bring up with Extreme is I was under the impression that when these two cables, these two ports are set up as a trunk, or as we call it, a lag in Extreme world, aggregate link, that they basically should be load sharing in some way, shape, or form. Whether, the same ISID is always going across one, or whether they're just, they see a MAC address here, then it always goes that way. It sees a MAC address here, it always goes this way. I'm not entirely clear on how the load sharing algorithm works for LACP, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to share the load. And what I am seeing is I'm only seeing traffic going across this link. I have my intermapper network management or network monitoring system, not SolarWinds, not SolarWinds. I'm looking at the utilization on this port and this port and this port and this port. I'm seeing a lot of utilization on these two ports and practically none on these two ports. So this may be carrying all of our internet traffic if this is all ISID based, and this may be carrying all of our other traffic. And there is no other traffic on the weekends. So this would be our county clinics and the WAN traffic between the hospital and downtown county. So I'm going to watch on Monday, just before lunchtime, and see if traffic on this link here has picked up at all. Oh yes, and before I forget, so you've heard me tell about the Band-Aid, about preemptive failover that had everything working and no problem. Well, problem. Friday night, for no apparent reason, we were losing connectivity to the internet about, can't even talk. Connectivity to the internet, there we go. About every minute or so, it would drop for 10, 20, 30 seconds and then come back up. And then drop and then come back up. We just kept doing it over and over and over again. I didn't work on this. My boss worked on this, bless her heart. If you're working on it, love you, Aman, love you. What Extreme found is they didn't find, they theorized that there was too much traffic getting pushed out through our ISP, and they were limiting us. They were rate limiting us basically on this port out here. So what they did is basically rate limited these two ports on these two switches here through a traffic shaping policy. And it was basically just to limit the rate down to, I forget what it is, like 1 gig or something. These are 10 gig links, but they limited it down to 1 gig for right now. And I believe, yeah, it's just on these two ports. Yeah. So, and when they did that, our internet connectivity stabilized. And again, it never affected our traffic to county or to our remote clinics, which also travels over all these links. So there you go, a real poser, a real head scratcher. We're trying to figure out what this is. We don't know. And again, like I said, if you've got any idea, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you all for the wonderful, nice comments. I appreciate it. And those of you who are still bashing on me for hating Ubiquity, I don't hate Ubiquity. I just don't use it. It's not for me. Somebody pointed out that I was bashing Ubiquity in the video, and he challenged me to go back and watch the video, and I did, and I could not see where I was bashing Ubiquity. our circuit provider did not know how to configure Ubiquity. That's all I said. If you like Ubiquity, God love you, enjoy it. We're not going to use it. It's just, we don't use it. Sorry, we just don't. Deal with it. And I love you. God bless. So anyway, that's all we got. Thanks for watching. Click the subscribe button if you found this mildly interesting or entertaining. Click the notification bell if you want to know when I'm going to start rambling. And as always, God bless. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Yeah, well, I guess I better stop that. And now I'll finally say goodbye.